Hey everyone, welcome back to my vlog. I'm Robin, or A Hobbit's Reading List. That was a car horn during my intro, which is very unfortunate. This week we are going to be hopefully finishing up my July TBR and going to the beach, probably swimming, getting over sunburn because of said beach. So let's go ahead and get into it. So it is Monday night. I had a whole day, a whole ding dang day. I went to take my car to get an oil change, and that went fine. I started reading 9.5 Weeks while I was waiting, and I got about like 50 pages in. And then I started driving home, ran over something on the highway, and got a flat tire like 10 minutes away from the auto shop. So I had to call a tow. Well, Chris called the tow. And then wait. And then the tow truck took me to a tire shop in my town because I wasn't in my town. And then I had to wait more. So by that point, I had like and I got a new tire and was able to go home. So like I had read about 80 pages of 9.5 Weeks because it's surprisingly difficult to concentrate on reading when you're like freaking out about a flat tire and being on the side of a highway and gosh, people are going by really fast next to you. I did have 3 people stop though and ask if they could help me with my flat tire, but because I didn't have a spare, they couldn't do anything. Which is just a sign that I should get a spare tire. Anywho, when I got home, I sat out on the hammock for a little bit and I finished 9.5 Weeks. And that's not like an impressive feat or anything, it's 117 pages. So 9.5 Weeks is about a woman. She technically doesn't have a name, but 9.5 Weeks is semi-autobiographical, so her name is Elizabeth, probably. Except not really, because Elizabeth McNeill is a pseudonym. But it's about a woman. She meets this man. We don't ever know what his name is. And they enter into a 9.5 week affair. And it very quickly turns into sadomasochism. There's elements of slavery in there as well, and it's just really interesting. It's not very spicy, like there's some mentions of it, but for as entrenched in the love affair as it is, there's really not that much smut. There's like, and it's never, there aren't any blow-by-blows, we'll put that. Not really, anyway. So I did enjoy it, though. I thought it was really interesting. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. Like, I didn't connect really with either of the characters. And part of it, I think, is just because, like, we don't really know a ton about them, except how their relationship develops. Like, we don't even know their names. So, and I don't know. It's just, like, and it moves very quickly. And so it's the main character is sort of thinking about like, how did this happen? And it just sort of developed, but it developed very quickly. And I sort of have the same question too of like, okay, but I want more. Like, I want to know, like, how did she react the first time that he, like handcuffed her to the table leg and fed her from his own plate? Like, I want to know. So I did enjoy it. 117 pages is not long enough for me to like find like huge fault with. So I gave it 4 stars. It was good. I'll keep it. I might reread it. But after that, I still wasn't ready to go inside. So I asked Siri to pick another book, and she picked We Could Be So Good by Sebastian, which I got an arc of, but I got it like the day before it was published. So, but I'm glad that I can finally read it because it does expire. My arc expires in like 5 days. So I'm glad that I'm getting to it and I could post a review on NetGalley and boost my percentage on there. I'm about quarter of the way through. I was trapped under my cat when I came inside because I needed to charge my phone. And I got trapped under Reese, and I'm like, all right, well, while I'm here, I'll read. And then I've been trapped under him for like 2.5 hours. So, I really enjoy it. So, We Could Be So Good is about Nick and Andy. They work at a New York City newspaper together. Andy is the son of the owner, pretty much. And they become friends, and Nick is not openly gay, but people know. Andy knows. And it's Cat Sebastian. They're gonna end up together. So I just got to a part because it sort of switches perspective. Like it was Nick's POV in like the first part, and now that I'm on part 2, it's in Andy's, and then it's probably gonna switch at part 3. But Andy's section is much longer so far. But I just got to the part where Andy admitted to himself in his brain that like he likes men just as much as he likes women, but he's never acted on it, because it is set in like 1959. So raids at like gay bars and bathhouses and stuff were very, very prominent then, and so it wasn't obviously safe to be openly queer. But it is really interesting. I'm having a good time with it. I want to just like get to the part where they do something. Even just like admit their feelings and like kiss a little, because I feel like I'm reading a lot of things right now, either like books or like fan fiction, where they're not there yet, and I like happy. I like people getting together, so I really want to get to that part. And because I've been trapped under a cat for 2.5 hours, the day's practically over, and I think I'm just gonna keep reading. I'm just gonna accept that like I'm not doing anything productive today because my tire got a flat and then I was trapped under a cat. And yes, I meant to rhyme. So that's my day, and I'm gonna go back to reading, and I'll talk more in the morning about it. So I just finished listening to Something Fabulous, and I rated it. I sent my dad the rating. He said I severely overrated it because he really didn't enjoy it. There were definitely parts that I had an issue with. Arabella can die in a fire. I did not like that character. I want to go through the Cobb Pile rating so you can sort of see how I ended up where I ended up. So for characters, I gave it a 5 because I really liked Valentine. Bonnie, I liked for the most part. He had his moments. Everyone else sucked. Except for Valentine's mom. She was pretty cool, but we only get her like a little bit. Atmosphere was an 8. The writing is good. Alexis Hall is a good writer. Writing, I gave a 7. Plot, I gave a 6. There were some parts that bothered me because I didn't feel like they added to the plot. I felt like things were dragged out too much. So, intrigue was an 8. I really enjoyed listening to it. I really like the narrator, by the way. Nicholas Bolton does a great job. He also narrated Glitterland, which I really enjoyed. Logic, I gave a 4 because the way that people were behaving, no. And then overall enjoyment, I gave a 6 because I feel like as much as I did enjoy Valentine and Bonnie and their relationship, there were so few parts where it's just the two of them. They're so impacted by other people that I couldn't give it higher than that, because as soon as you add another person, it just goes downhill so much, mainly because of the logic. I've said this before, because of how people were treating Valentine. I have a huge issue with that. It was not realistic. And like, obviously, in a queer historical romance, the realism is you have to suspend disbelief, but he's still a duke. He would still be treated with some respect. Yeah. So I ended up giving it a 3-star. Like I said, Dad said that's overrated. For me, rating an Alexis Hall book, that's actually pretty low. Like, I do generally enjoy Alexis Hall's writing, and that's probably the lowest I've given one of his books. I can't remember what I rated A Husband Material, but it was probably only lower. It was probably like a 3.5 because of the ending, because I was salty. But yeah, if it had just been Bonnie and Valentine, great. I actually like their relationship. Just the other people bug the crap out of me. So that's that. I will start listening to Shmutz by Felicia Berliner tonight on my drive home. I have 2 chapters left of We Could Be So Good, so I'm actually probably going to finish that today too. So I'll talk to you guys in a minute. And I'm back. So I finished reading We Could Be So Good by Sebastian. I have talked about it because I started reading it Monday. I'm like, I had to think about that. So this is my 3rd finished book of the week, which is, I love that. I gave it 5 stars. It was so good. And I think that it had a little bit of an advantage because I was reading it at the same time as I was listening to the second half of Something Fabulous. And while, again, I did like the relationship between Valentine and Bonnie, the relationship between Nick and Andy and We Could Be So Good was so good. It was just so nice and so, like, obviously caring, and like, it's a completely different circumstances, right? So it's not necessarily fair to compare the two, but I couldn't help but comparing them because I was reading them at the same time. But it was so lovely. There is a found family trope in there, which, like, I'm a huge sucker for. And yeah, I don't know, it was so good. The writing was good. Sebastian does a really great job writing, like, emotional but funny. Like, very similar to how I feel about TJ Klune, quite honestly. The only thing is, and like, obviously it didn't cost it really any like points or whatever, I just wish that there was more explicit smut. Like, they're all fade to black scenes, which, like, is totally fine, but I want all of it. I want all of it. So I still really liked it, and I'm going to add the physical book to my wish list so that eventually I will buy it for myself, because I had the e-arc. But yeah, it was really good. I definitely recommend it, especially if you want books set in New York City, because there's a lot of just New York vibes in it. But especially if you like queer romances with a happy ending, low angst queer romances, quite honestly, is what fits, and that's sort of my brand right there. And yeah, historical fiction queer romances, like, just, if you like queer romances, just read it. If you like romance, read it. If you like books, read it. Can't say enough about it. So yeah, so that's what's up. I don't know what I'm gonna read next. I'm either going to read Hidden Huntress by Danielle Jensen or The Pot Hunters by P.G. Woodhouse. I am going to the beach tomorrow with Stephanie, so I'll ask Siri probably tomorrow morning. I'm not anticipating picking up another book tonight. I feel like I've been just reading all day. Other than that, I will start Shmutz tonight, however, so I will have an update probably tomorrow morning on the first, like, hour or so. So yeah, that's busy day, but I feel good. I feel accomplished. So let's see what else we can do. Hello. I had a lot of fun at the beach yesterday with Stephanie. I did, however, get sunburned. I honestly, I'm surprised that that's all I got. I have like that patch here and then I have like a little bit on my neck. But we were at the beach for like almost 6 hours, so I'm actually pretty proud that that's all I have. I didn't really do any reading, quite honestly. Like, I started reading The Pot Hunters by P.G. Wodehouse. I can't tell you what it's about. I'm still on the first chapter, and right now it's just about boxing matches. So, I do know, however, that it's Wodehouse's first published book, and my dad hasn't read it before, and he said that he's struggling with it a little bit, so I'm just like, ooh, that doesn't bode well for me. But it's only like, I think like 130 pages, so I'm hoping I can like knock it out, maybe. But yeah, I don't know what it's about. I did, however, start listening to Shmutz this morning. I was going to listen to it Wednesday night on my drive home because I finished Something Fabulous, but by the time I got in my car, I could still hear like the Something Fabulous voices. And so I figured that starting Shmutz wouldn't be like conducive. Or I don't even know if that's the right word. Productive, I guess. So I started it this morning. I'm really enjoying it. I've listened to about 3 hours. So I'm about a third of the way through, actually. Shmutz is about a girl named Razel who is Hasidic, and so there are a lot of restrictions and traditions and expectations, and so she's sort of dealing with that at the same time as sort of like figuring out who she is, especially dealing with the fact that she has a porn addiction, which is not great in her community. So it's really interesting, and it's also really making me want to learn Yiddish, which I've always liked Yiddish. I like the way it sounds. I don't know hardly any, but I'm learning a lot in this book because there's a lot of Yiddish. So it's just, I don't know, it's interesting. I am enjoying it. I like the narrator. She's doing a great job. I think her name is Jessie Valinsky. She's doing really well. A lot of the narrators that I've been listening to the past couple days are really good. Oh, you can see a little bit of my, yeah, that looks fun. It's always like, even when you're being really careful with like sunblock and everything, you miss the weirdest spots and then you get the weirdest sunburns. So that's fun. But I don't know how much I'm going to read tonight. Chris will be home soon, and I didn't really see him yesterday, and I was in bed by the time he got home, so we'll probably hang out tonight. So I don't know how much I'm going to read or do anything else. I really need to like get some stuff done though. I feel like I haven't done like hardly anything this week, so need to work on that. But yeah, that's just like a quick little update. I don't have like a ton. Honestly, I want to keep reading Shmutz, but I only want to do that just because I don't want to read The Pot Hunters because I'm not expecting it to be very good, or at least for me not to really enjoy it that much. So, but I gotta do it. Because I think my dad and I are recording the podcast on Monday, I think. So yeah, I will check in with you guys later. I am about 62% through Shmutz. I'm really enjoying it. It is it's really short chapters, so I'm able to get through like a lot, as opposed to other books who have like 30 to 40-minute chapters. I end up like stopping listening like 20 minutes from home, but some of the chapters in Shmutz are like 4 minutes, so I'm able to listen to a full like hour and 20 minutes each time. So I got through 30% of the book yesterday, so I should finish it Tuesday. Like I said, I'm really enjoying it. I think Raisel's story is so interesting, and it's making me really curious about, you know, Hasidic communities. I'm sure there's Hasidic communities in Chicago. I haven't heard about them, but I'm sure there are. I don't know. I'll have to do some research, just because I think it's really interesting, and it's a completely different approach to Judaism than what I've experienced, and so it's really interesting to learn about. It is making me want to learn more Yiddish, like I said earlier, and I do have a book of like Yiddish sayings, so maybe I'll have to pull that out. I haven't read much of Pot Hunters, which I'm going to really try to read a lot more of on Monday, because yeah, I need to like finish that up. It's one of those things where I'm like, I'm not expecting to enjoy it because it's Woodhouse's first book and it's a school book, so it's all about, so the setting is at a school. It's with a bunch of boys, which is fine. I've read the first chapter, and it's about this like sports day or something. I don't know what the plot is, and it's only like 112 pages, but because I'm not expecting to like it, I'm dragging my feet on it when it really shouldn't take me that long to read. So yeah, that's kind of my update. I mean, I think we did pretty well this week. You know, we're finishing up my TBR. We finished 3 books. Like, I'm pretty proud of how I did this week. I had another good week mood-wise. I have a lot to look forward to next week, which you'll see. And I'm feeling pretty good. And I don't know if it's because, A, I'm doing better with reading, or I don't think it's because work is easier. I don't believe that at all. Or because school is starting in about 3 weeks, and that's really exciting, and I know what books I'll be reading in the semester, or if it's because in maybe about 2 weeks I will have announced a readathon I'm putting together. So keep an eye out for that, because I would really like people to do it with me. Otherwise, it's just me doing a readathon I created by myself, which is fine, but also I want people to do it. So that's the vlog. I'm gonna go ahead and start next week's vlog and talk all about Pot Hunters. So leave a comment, like, subscribe, click notification bell, be happy. That's your to-do list. Bye.